I'm glad you're here, Mr. Lee. We want to find out what is the end game. We have been in this state of anticipation about tariffs since Trump put this up on Truth Social in November. Then he promised tariffs on day one, January 20th. Then he said February 1st. Then it was February 4th today. And now he's delayed them by a month. What is he trying to achieve here?
Anne-Marie, I have an op-ed that's being published, I believe, tomorrow in the National Post that analyzes what I believe is the single most important document thus far that is published and available to the world on the vision of the Trump administration.
What is it?
It was published. Stephen Marin, who is now, by the way, the chief economist to President Trump in the White House. And he published it in late November. And the title gives it away. User's Guide to the Reform of the International Economic System. What the Trump, contrary to what our leaders have said, both federally and provincially in our country, that says he doesn't have a vision, he doesn't know what he's doing, he doesn't understand tariffs. I'm not here to defend Donald Trump. I don't agree with tariffs. I've been opposed to tariffs for my life, but it's not about me. It's about what's going on in his head,
right,
and what is his vision. And so this vision is audacious. It is radical, in my judgment. It is nothing less than the reform of the entire international economic system that has governed the world since 1945, variously called the Bretton Woods financial system, often just simply called multilateralism. Countries are all equal, one country, one vote at the UN, the IMF, and so forth, and we all obey the rules. Well, and he argues, Stephen Marin, and I believe he is speaking on behalf of Donald Trump, that the U.S. believes that they have been taken advantage of over the last 70-odd years by friend and foe alike, by countries demanding and getting full access to the U.S. economy, but then they protect parts of their own economy. And so they intend to use tariffs to force countries to open up those segments of their economies that are protected from American corporations.
So that's what we're seeing then. I like this phrasing of friend and foe, because a lot of people in Canada have said, this makes no sense. Why do this? We are your closest trading partner. What does that look like then? If that is the goal, for him to change that internationally, what does it, can he do that? He's one man, one country, can he do that?
Well, that's the excellent question. And what the argument in the paper is, look, everybody around the world, or almost everybody, wants access to the American market because it's the largest, most powerful, innovative economy in the world. 25, 28 trillion, depending on how you measure it. No other country, including China, comes close to the U.S. So the fact that everyone wants access to sell into the American market is their card, their trump card, pardon the pun.
Yeah.
That's their lever. And so what they're saying is that if you want access to the American market, this is what you've got to do. In fact, there's a quote in the paper, Anne-Marie. It just jumped off the page. It's a quote by Marin of President Trump. He said, "It is not a right of foreign corporations to go into the United States and compete. It is a privilege that must be earned." Now, this contradicts all the trade agreements. That is not what it is said in the NAFTA agreement or CUSMA or the WTO. Yeah. So he is rewriting the rules, and he can get away with it because they are the largest economy in the world.
If this is the end game and that is the playbook, that's the blueprint, how do we negotiate that?
Well, first off, we have to know that there is this blueprint, and I've suggested repeatedly that up until probably this week, there was no indication from our national leaders or our provincial premiers that there was even this blueprint, this plan that they were pursuing. So now the first thing is, Tom Brady taught us he won all those Super Bowls because he came in before everybody else and started studying videotape of the competitors, and he did that day in and day out for his entire career. You've got to know what the other side is up to. You have to do opposition research. And so we have to do, we're now learning very belatedly what the U.S. government is up to. We've got to do a better job. Anne-Marie, there's one other point I want to bring out I didn't make explicit. Trump has augmented the list of irritants that have been in the U.S. Trade Reps report tabled in Congress since the Clinton years.
Right.
He's added to that list by saying, I want the digital tax on U.S. giants to be rescinded.
Yes, yeah.
And he's added security to into the mix, saying, I want the borders. You countries that are accessing our market are not contributing your fair share. And so that's going to be part of their calculus, their demands on countries like Canada, not only remove protected industries so American companies can go into those markets, but it's also to ensure that these countries are paying their fair share of defense, because they argue that they've paid the overwhelming share of the trillions spent since 1945 on international security.
Mr. Lee, we only have a few seconds left, but really quickly, if anybody wants to do any reading, what is the name of that report?
The report is called User's Guide to Reform of the International Economic System, and it's at the website of his employer, Stephen Marin, the Hudson Bay hedge fund, Hudson Bay Financial Corporation in Wall Street.
Good to know. Appreciate you so much, Mr. Lee. Thanks for coming on. Associate Professor at Carleton University, Sprott School of Business. We have all been schooled this morning. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. Thank you.